Men look for reasons to discard their wives. They no longer wanted wives, so they were looking for reasons to discard their wives. This happened in Iran. I did a topic about Soraya, where because the man did not want the woman anymore, knowing that the woman cannot stand trial, he had to cook up a story that she was adulterous so that they could stone her to death just because they wanted to marry. Hardness of heart. Hardness of heart. Stay with me. So you see, hardness of heart wasn't about the woman. And we'll look into Matthew 19. But just wait a minute. You see, most women have heard Matthew 19. But I feel like most times this is preached in a way that women don't hear it from a place of reconciliation because of the way it's preached from a place of judgment towards women. Even the same thing with Malachi 2:16, God is divorce, God is divorce. But you see, when Jesus spoke about hardness of heart in Matthew 19, he wasn't talking to the woman. He was talking to Pharisees. He was talking to the men. Why? Because in those days, men looked for reasons to discard their wives. They no longer wanted wives, so they were looking for reasons to discard their wives. This happened in, I'm not sure if it's Afghanistan or Iran. I did a topic about Soraya, where because the man did not want the woman anymore, he had to cook up a story, knowing that the woman cannot stand trial. He had to cook up a story that she was adulterous so that they could stone her to death just because they wanted to marry. And this was the same of those days, the Pharisees and the men, because of their greediness, their selfishness, their unfaithfulness to their wives. So they were the ones Jesus was telling off. Jesus was rebuking them. He said it was rebuking the outlets of their heart. It was directed at men who wanted easy way out. They wanted a way to divorce. It wasn't even the easy way out because they were cooking up things. They've mistreated women. They've abused them. They now want to leave the situation. Let's go into Matthew 19. Jesus replied, Moses permitted you to divorce your wives because your hearts were hard, but it was not this way from the beginning. You see, God did not design marriage to be a place of torture or torment or turmoil. Marriage was designed to be a beautiful place between two unions coming together to multiply. Not just because we are going to multiply children, but to advance the kingdom of God. You see, the kingdom of God cannot advance in your home when evil has taken place. What is the evil? Abuse. Your wife has been neglected, is being abused. Or maybe the husband has been neglected, the husband is being abused. Your children are going through relational trauma. They're going through trauma from your exposure, from exposing them to domestic abuse. You see, if these children that have been exposed to domestic abuse are fortunate, they'll seek the right help, go to the right training, and help themselves not to repeat the patterns of their parents. A lot of people are exposed to domestic abuse, then they grow up, they say, oh, I'm not going to be like my father. I'm not going to be like my mother. Oh, sorry, if you don't do anything about it, you will be exactly like them because it is in your subconscious. So you have to live intentionally and be deliberate about it and seek help. Jesus explained to them that it was not like that from the beginning. Then let's look at Mark 10:5. It was because your hearts were hard that Moses wrote you this law. Please get the context. When Jesus says this, he's responding to the Pharisees who are trying to debate divorce laws. They're trying to catch him out. That Jesus too will say something that he's not supposed to say. The discussion was taking place in a culture where men largely controlled divorce proceedings, just like the story of Soraya. In a culture where women did not have a voice. Remember that there was a time women could not vote. There was a time women could not be in parliament. There was a time women could not lead. So this was happening in a time and culture where women were not the ones controlling divorce proceedings. These things were led by men.
You're still there. Go and subscribe. Let us help more women come out of domestic abuse. And let's help more men understand how to love a woman. Yes, go and subscribe. Share my post. Subscribe and join the family. Because we're not just healing. We're thriving. We're growing. We're making money. We're building a better society. And above all, we're creating better spaces and society for our children. You're not part of my village people. Abi, they sent you to me. Tell them that you did not see me. Yeah, go and subscribe.
So Jesus points back to them. It points back to God's original design. Jesus points back to God's original design about marriage. And he said, Moses' concession regarding divorce was given because human sinfulness and hardness of heart, because of their sinfulness and their hardness of heart. And he was talking to the men and the Pharisees in this context because women were not sat in that audience. He was talking to Pharisees, the leaders, men. Now in today, we're talking to the church. We're talking to the people, the perpetrators of this evil. So Jesus was rebuking hardness of heart when he explained this. It was directed at people that were seeking to break the covenant for selfish reasons. In those days, men were trying to break the covenant of marriage for selfish reasons. Their wife had done them no harm, but they wanted to break the covenant of marriage, just like the story of Suriah. They were seeking justice for selfish reasons. And if you go down the playlist on YouTube, you will see why it differentiated what covenant was, what contract was in marriage. So we understand what the paper form of divorce is and what the covenant itself is that God is referring to. You see, the passage is not a command for women. In fact, it wasn't even talking to women. He wasn't telling you to remain in abuse. My dear women, Jesus never told you to remain in abuse. The focus was on the seriousness of breaking the covenant for selfish reasons. Selfish reasons. It wasn't protecting abusers. It was protecting you, who is the victim. You see, some women have been carrying burdens that God never put on them to carry. There's nothing absolutely wrong with divorcing for the right reason. For adultery, for abuse, for the right reason. There's nothing absolutely wrong. Because think about it. You're being selfish. Because it's not more about you when you have children. It's not more about you when you have children. It's about those children too. If you don't love yourself enough, what of your children? And let me tell you something. They're going to ask you, because we asked our mom. They are going to ask you questions. They're going to eventually evolve, grow up, understand right from wrong, and ask you questions. And like I said, if they are fortunate, they will seek help because there are so many things, so many traumas that those children will have developed. I've seen families whereby they were exposed to parents of domestic abuse, and the siblings grew up, they were not friends, they were not close because they all experienced the abuse differently. Some left the house and never returned. They never had a relationship with their parents. They couldn't just stand it. Some who had relationship with their parents had a very distant relationship with their parents because they couldn't even trust their parents with information about them because they just looked at them like they didn't know what they were doing. Some who remained close and in close contact with family and friends experienced going through the same situation and they hated it because by the time they realized what they had been through, by the time they realized the life that they had wasted, some 10 years, 20 years in abuse. And can I tell you something? Let me leave this with you. Sometimes it's not just what you've been exposed to. It's also what has happened to you as a child. Maybe you had a narcissist father or you had a narcissist mom. You've experienced some childhood trauma that you refuse to deal with or you don't know that you've experienced that. Please go to YouTube, go to the playlist, go down and start from the beginning if you've missed any of these days we've been doing. We've really spent a lot of dedicated time to explain to you about the divorce and the church. See you for day 13. Bye for now.